Okay, Zach, things have gotten heated.
What to do now?
Yeah. So we found out our shifty-looking chief with the shitty mustache is the main villain. Right?
Although the knowledge in context makes me think of revisiting something else. Just shut up. Yes, you'll be the first to be killed, so stay quiet.
Or else you'll be the latest.
But that's exactly the thing, Tail. Like he just said, he thought he was the cheerful sidekick.
There's a thing called being wrong genre savvy.
Kason, if you came in.
Oh, great! And now the police station is infected.
Tio, he's not the killer. Let it go.
No, here's the thing, Shiri. Now I can prove it. Okay. See? Now, here's the thing. Now we know the context that George allegedly is responsible behind this. See, here's the thing. George was already present, you know, at
the lumber mill.
Not just the lumber mill, the art gallery. Remember, if I recall correctly, yes, he was already there, so it probably means that he has been doing all the lifting work. What's to say that he hasn't collaborated with Kaizen, and then they had an accord where Kaizen deliberately got locked in the cell by George, so they could have an alibi.
Teo is determined to pin this on Kaizen.
Teo,
again, I'm waiting until the end of the credit, even if it's not, I'm gonna make my fucking head canon fanfiction.
My fanfiction is canon, I swear.
Okay.
Teo, there is a slight problem.
Hold on, yes, go on.
There's a slight problem with your theory, though. He's like twice all the victims' ages, and do you really expect a guy as big and unfit as him to be able to kill anybody?
Zach, I thought.
Dueb's not for nothing, but first of all, this is a very bizarre world that we live in this game.
Also, second, double the age of a victim. So what's your excuse?
Second, Dueb's.
He's more fit.
There's plenty of older killers. That doesn't really. Not
to mention, there seems to be some degree of hypnotism of some kind because.
I've already finished. There's plenty of older killers in the world.
That said, though, Pedro, haven't you yourself said that apparently we're looking for somebody who matches the build of the Raincoat Killer?
No, actually, I was the one suggesting that, which I don't remember if George really fits the description, but again, I do wonder if it's an artistic decision, kind of like Detective Conan, or instead it has to be taken literally.
Well, Tail,
I wouldn't know that much. Haven't seen.
Tail, like she herself noticed, George really likes having control of things. And let's just say, Tail, you don't even know how much he likes having control of things. That's all I'll say.
No, that I'm not put in question. And like I said, as much as it pains my heart, now I can imagine why George might be the killer. Again, it is painful, but unfortunately, unfortunately the brain tells that that's the right thing that has to have happened.
That's the thing, Theo. It's like I said earlier, he does have the motive to want to go after women hard, considering what his own mom did to him. So I can imagine how he would maybe want to.
Well, there's also. Sorry, go ahead.
I can imagine how he might have a grudge against the women here and there. As for why, he had that attraction to Emily, though, that still is a bit odd.
All right, let's profile, especially because
we remember, Joe, he asked her out and she didn't want to.
I'll answer you guys after this.
If I can't have it, no one can.
Oh God, he's going to kill her, isn't he? That said, though, is it just me, or does it feel like there's something missing from all this? Like, yes, we figured out that George is...
It's too... It feels... That's not the thing, Jova. Yes, I think I understand what you mean. Usually, in a game like, say, Layton, but not just that, other type of murder mystery, the big reveal of the culprit appears when the said culprit is also in the room. Instead, here we got that, that epiphany off screen. We have York explaining that to the others, and now we're going to confront that. It feels like we're missing one twist that still needs to happen. Not in a sense that George has to be, innocent all along or something. Well, sure, it might still play the possibility for, but logic seems to point out still to him at this point. What I'm saying is, this doesn't make Case an innocent.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Let's just, well...
Okay, let me put it like this, though. Remember my theory that there's probably more than one Raincoat Killer. Well, not in the sense of this, but again, the Raincoat Killer that has shown up in the supernatural elements here and there could not have been George, because George was right outside the lumber mill and outside the art gallery when we were coming through. I'm wondering.
Jove, I can confirm for you that yes, the Raincoat Killer that's been chasing us is George. Yes.
Well, Jove, like I did theorize a couple of parts ago, maybe he really has the ability to teleport.
No,
it's this outer world.
That's the thing too. Here's the thing: you have to also think about. Let's think back for a moment. Okay. But however, this is a long explanation I'm about to do. So let me just quickly answer Jove and Shirai. Well, that's exactly the thing, Jove and Shirai. As you guys yourself said, let's think about this for a moment. George asked Emily out years ago, so clearly he likes her. We heard Thomas talk about how, oh, we had just so much fun, as in with George, like, and then you had to come in. What does that imply? You know, that's a yeah. It implies that Thomas was jealous of Emily.
Well, yeah. We got that already in the last part.
Well, yeah, I know. It's just that, like, I think it becomes pretty obvious now what this is all about. But anyway, in general. But anyway, to answer Teo in particular, let's think about this for a moment too. Okay, so let's get back to the lumber mill. Remember, we were all alone in the lumber mill, and for all we know, George could have just said to Emily, you know, Emily, I'm going to take a leak or something, or along those lines. We don't know what George and Emily were doing while we were outside. For all we know, George
let me also ask this question in general, because, okay, again, we established that these things are real, this is a thing that is happening. But do we know if time is dilated still during these sequences, where, say, outside it's happening 5 minutes and inside we're getting these, like, 1 hour long walk that York is taking?
We do know that some time must happen, because that's the only way some of the sequences make sense. Yes. However,
for example, at the hospital, York took quite a bit to actually get to the entrance, but when he got there, he still had like 2 minutes had passed, because Emily and George also show up at that moment.
Yeah.
True, but at the same time, let's not forget how Emily herself also had the same kind of experience. So.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm questioning if, well, I'm not questioning about the reality or not, because yes, Emily's presence confirmed that these things are things that happen. What I'm questioning is if this thing acts as sort of time bubble where inside time is dilated.
The game never flat out explains that. Again, it boils down to the unfortunate tacked on aspect of these sequences. Sadly, I would have liked an explanation for that too, sure, but unfortunately we do not. I don't have one to give you to. Sorry.
Okay, for as much as these things may have been tacked on, I feel like SCWRM should have at least been able to come up with a way to work them into the story. So
I agree.
They're coherent. Like,
sure,
okay, I get it. I get that he may not have liked adding this in, but come on, SCWRM. Like, well, I mean, if anything, you could have had these help the experience better, as opposed to just, you know, hemming and hawing about them. But that said, though, this implies that George somehow went in after us each time, but also got out before us and was able to get right back out to where we left him in this regard.
Remember, Raincoat Killer still operates on a slasher villain kind of cliche, where it does give the impression that he's able to teleport.
Not just that, Jova, but unlike us, he knows all of these places inside and out, so he's much better at, you know, going on through these areas than we are. So
God forbid he actually has superpowers.
Regardless.
Oh my God, he actually has superpowers.
Well, to be fair, Jova, would that really surprise you? There's this constant mythos about the red seeds supposedly giving immortality to those who chew them. So
what's gonna happen?
Very good, Tail. You've been paying attention.
Maybe it's like the X-Well. I have bullshit. Also, I have been preparing the part, so I actually had to see them again, just so I could actually have that excuse to analyze on, like, with Shira and Jova. But no, like, I don't know to what degree this might be true, and if it's a thing like the extremist virus in our memory, where if you're the chosen one, congratulations, you get superpowers, otherwise you die.
another example I can give, like you mentioned the art gallery too. Remember, York specifically told George to be in the art gallery, right there, waiting for Nick. So he had all the time he needed to go in there and kill Diane. Perfectly, to do that before York even arrived. So that one is pretty clean, like very easy for George to accomplish, very easy, even if he didn't have superpowers.
Oh no, actually I didn't understand that. Sorry, go on.
So Pedro, you're implying that the Red Seeds can give powers, so let me guess, when we actually find him, he's gonna down the Red Seeds thinking that those will give him superpowers or something.
Well, who's to say Joe that he doesn't already have, and he's just, you know, he's gone Ultra Instinct Shaggy and kept this power check.
Don't worry, Joe, but you'll see
on the table.
Don't worry, Joe, but you'll see for yourself in, I think it's the next part already, if I remember correctly.
You see, Joe, now that Thomas isn't here anymore, the lunchroom has been desecrated.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, the zombie was glitching through the...
should we just leave that zombie be?
There.
Oh. There, we put him out of his misery. But anyway, back to what I was saying, though. It's, Tio, it's like I said, though. I mean, yeah, we know that George is this new Raincoat Killer, apparently, who is mimicking the other one. But is he really the mastermind behind all of, you know, these Raincoat Killers?
I can agree. That I can agree, no. Which, again, it's like you just said, we are really still missing a piece of a puzzle, which would be fit. The adventure is not over yet, so we have to see. I don't think confronting George will really be the end of this.
Well, let's see how things go.
I think that the Carole still plays a major role in this, and the fact that we haven't heard from her in a while.
Well, I'm pretty guessing. I'm considering the debriefing, the profiling. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that she's the next victim.
Very good.
That said, I wonder. I think either she or Harry might be the master.
Not to mention, like Theo just assumed, Jova. Let's think about this for a moment. Emily and York and Thomas and Kazan were all in the clock tower, you know, handling everything. So that basically left George's path open to go for Carole easily. So yeah, it's not really that hard to get to the conclusion Theo just did, really.
Well, yes, but also let's think about this, though. We don't quite know Carole's role in all this yet.
Oh, that.
Well, we know she could be the next victim, or maybe she is on something of a higher level than what we suspect.
Well, remember, Joe, but we already know from the various investigation aspects that we've done, and for the argument she had with Diane, that clearly, just like Becky and Diane, Carole knows who the real killer is. And she's clearly at the very not necessarily an accomplice like Thomas was, but clearly she's somewhat involved in this.
There's also a thing we're actually getting too focused. We're also getting too focused on what's going on right now, but I think we're forgetting one thing: the impetus that prompted York to arrive here, Anna's murder. Remember, there's still stuff from Anna's murder that we don't know, like her joining properly that supposed cult.
Anna, what are you doing?
How Becky was also related to that as well.
Well, remember too that we know.
A good idea about how Becky was related to.
Remember, but Anna and Becky were best friends, so peer pressure most likely.
I can understand, but we don't know specifically what the cult is, who are the people behind it, because I don't believe it. George is the only one person behind it. For example, maybe the entire town is behind this for all we know. Like the Society of Blind Eye in Gravity Falls.
Don't worry, Terry. When we face George face to face, he will have a big monologue explaining it. So
of course.
I will give this section this, though. Like, well, maybe it's the Resident Evil vibing here, but the lighting actually does help to make this section genuinely creepy.
Yeah, it does.
Whoa.
Well, remember, she's a spirit, so...
You can clip.
It's not clipping, she's a spirit. See? There you go.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
so there you go. See, now this mattress that was covering the door when we first got here a lot of parts ago is now removed. So there you go. So there you go. Apparently George had a hideout all along. Oh fuck!
Oh.
Yeah, if you just press A instead of holding the button, he does this.
York, this is Zach speaking. Remember how to open a door.
That's the thing, Teo. This is not meant to be open. As you can see, there's no handle. You're supposed to push it. The problem is, and by push I mean hold the A button, like so.
So
like
one
this.
mic. So
what is this, made of stone?
So one
That's sound
migrate.
effect.
So one migrate later, we finally learn how to open the door.
Oh, and there's even a spider web in here.
It sounded like it was made of stone or heavy iron.
Maybe it's very ancient in here.
All right, let's see what we find here.
Old Man Jenkins.
Oh,
wait, what?
Well,
This is familiar.
This looks
the
like
Velvet Room.
No. That's the thing, Jova.
Oh wait, no, this is the sex dungeon.
No, not just that. This actually looks similar to the place where York sees in his dreams.
Well, yeah, that's what
without all the trees around it.
That's what Jova said. The Red Room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
But that's the thing. Actually, Jova, this is actually one of those cases where the similarities are unintentional, because this is just another ritualistic place. Because as we've come to know ever since we investigated Anna's area, these murders seem to be some kind of ritual, and that's why the place looks like this.
Of course.
There's also the thing that I mentioned a couple of parts ago. One potential detriment that these sections have is that the fact that York stays silent for the most part. Sure, he may have something to mention from time to time, but a situation like that, where the cutscene that we just had, really could have used a comment on his part.
Hey, Dwebs.
Yeah.
What Star Wars music would fit here, as our Jedi Knight York that kills these zombies?
Duel of the Fates, maybe?
That should be reserved for a more epic clash, like say a boss fight against George.
Oh, I know, Order 66.
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Considering York is limping to his knees, yeah.
Make it sound more dramatic than it actually is.
There you go.
That said, though, maybe the real mastermind behind all of this is actually Harry and whatnot. Like, I don't know. There's still something about Harry that I feel we don't have all the pieces yet to.
Yeah, maybe just like, other characters have swayed York to a certain direction to cover their asses, maybe Harry is doing the same thing too.
I mean, for all we know, Harry's the mastermind, and George has become a loose cannon that he needs
Carol's
to
earring.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the other piece of evidence we needed.
Oh, snap.
So he's got a thumbtack and a...
Yeah, I think you're too late again, York.
Always one step behind, Zach.
Just like in Bowser's Inside Story.
Yeah, if you keep smoking like that, you're gonna give yourself something.
Remember, Bleeves, it just takes a small puff every time.
So there you go. Carole was brought in here against her will as well.
Drag, kicking, and screaming. Oof.
I'm not letting... Oh, notice what she just said. I'm not letting you go through with it. So apparently even Carole turned against him.
Well, I fear she couldn't stop that still.
Weird, though.
Well, obviously. That's the thing, Joel. Remember, that was because we were... There you go. Now we're actually out of the other world. Now we're back to the real one.
Huh.
Wait, there's also another thing that I noticed. The red hair that York had found in the lumber mill, is that connected to Carole?
I don't think that's Carole.
Oh.
No, it's not.
I think Carole may...
Ooh, that's a big chicken.
Remember, the red hair was Anna's hair, but covered in blood.
Oh, right.
Carole, please tell me he hasn't gotten to you yet. Well, am I talking about? I saw the profile.
Have you gotten seeds?
Oh, look at that. And you can see a mark of blood dripping from her mouth, so you can tell her tongue was cut.
Why was she just standing there brushing her hair?
I get the feeling
there seems to be some kind of degree of mind control with these rituals killings.
Not just that, but oh, look at that! It's attorney! Ace attorney!
She's writing it's another common murder mystery cliche, writing the name of a killer with blood.
I had to.
We were
substitutes.
Carole? Carole?
George loves.
Oh god, they were substitutes for Emily.
Very good, Jova!
Oh, fuck.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah, thank you, York.
Well, remember, Jova, it's exactly because she loved, according to Thomas, she loved George as well, but, you know, George wouldn't care about her because of Emily. Again, this is all...
Emily.
It boils down to this, Jova. Emily's the only good person in this entire story. The main story specifically.
I guess.
Wait. How would Casey be able to hear you all the way from out?
He was still outside.
I guess it was just he was just panicking.
You're wasting time, man. Take her to the damn hospital.
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, I'll do it fast. But
don't talk about it. Do it now, you asshole.
Are those red seeds poisonous or something?
Maybe you shouldn't leave her with him.
Theo, he's probably not one.
I'm just saying, if something happens, I'm gonna blame him.
Well, to be fair, Emily needs medical help fast.
No.
So...
I just don't understand. Like, I get the idea that York wants to confront George now. I guess so that's why he's not coming as well. I guess we really did not have any more choices.
Not to mention that, like he himself just said. There you go.
Oh.
Not to mention too, as he himself just said, I haven't been this emotional in a long time. So clearly, he's starting to, let his emotions cloud his judgment.
We have seen that already, starting with a couple of parts ago.
Then that was the Throne of Abyss.
It's interesting because until that point, York had remained, even without the comedy stuff, York had remained very, not stoic for lack of a better term, but something more like impassable.
Deadpan.
Circumstances.
Yeah.
But not necessarily in a negative way.
Oh no.
More like,
sure.
But hold on.
Previously during the investigation.
Thomas, you've got nowhere to run now. Just surrender yourself.
You won't have it your way. I won't let you take him. Die.
So basically, both Thomas and Carole were crazy in love with George.
Yep.
Damn.
That explains a lot.
Responsible for the murders? Love G himself.
So yeah, that's his nickname now, Love G.
All right.
Well, I guess it fits better than the king.
Oh, thank God York had time to put on his rain poncho.
So what does the G stand for? Get.
Yeah.
Wow, George is literally inviting him in.
Come in, or I'll be firing one of my officers, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Again, too, that's exactly it. It's like you said, that the reason it has that impact is exactly because of that. It's the same thing that It's the same thing that Hino did with Herschel in the first trilogy. The reason Herschel losing composure in Latent Free works so well is because we're so used to him being so composed at all times.
True. I want to use that for a mirror comparison. Leighton feels more...
Wait. This music? During this time?
Well, remember, Joe, but this is just as what he says now.
So, Zach, I'm thinking of asking Emily out for dinner once this is all over.
She could be dead later on, you prick.
Well, she's already been carried to the hospital, Des. Come on.
Nick's diner might be a good.
That doesn't mean she'll survive.
I think I owe him a Nice big.
Let's not forget, she was in that painting too, and so far, everyone in that painting has expired so far.
Boy, here we go.
George, don't run away. Just surrender. It's done.
Don't grind your axe along the floor.
Pretty sure he's not caring about that.
But it looks.
There's already enough mess here.
But it looks cooler. But it looks cooler when I run like this.
So, George, any reason why your eyes glow when you have the raincoat on?
Red seeds power or something.
They're taking the Demon Souls approach, Jova. You see.
Maybe the red seeds really did do that.
But
so what are we gonna do? We're gonna shave his ridiculous mustache off before we kill him.
Well,
I'm pretending I haven't heard that, Wibs. And second, like I said, again, I want to use that as a comparison. Herschel's stoicness, the impassibility towards situation feels more natural. Like he's still rationalizing with things, and he's not like an emotionless husk. York has shown traits to be almost oblivious to stuff that happens around him, not in a sense of being an idiot, but more like to really display that he's like immune to potential stimuli from extreme situation. Only until recently, for mostly stuff that involves two things: Emily, and when Harry quotes a phrase that only York should know because it was the father that told it. So I actually do wonder if there's something more even on that front.
Oh, there is too, but I will not say anything.
One has to wonder, how is the town going to recover from the fact that their own sheriff...
Well, the police force is almost completely decimated. Like a good chunk of the town is it's either dead or in absolute psychological disrepair.
The game will actually explain that too. But in the end,
and there's also the fact that the town had been used as a testing ground during Cold War for biological weaponry for testing. So I guess the joke that I made quoting Resident Evil the other day might have been more appropriate.
It's like I said,
evacuate the city.
Yes,
it's like I said too. This was Swery's basic method. Okay, Resident Evil, Silent Hill. God, what was the other one? Blanking, right?
Tower.
Clock Tower.
Yeah.
Put them all in the blender. Ta-da-da! That's a premonition. There you go.
So
I imagine
what is the ingredient?
Really hate this town
So what is the equivalent of a can of whoopers that accidentally spilled too much into it?
The chemical X is Swery writing. That's the chemical. That's the chemical X.
I guess.
I thought the chemical X is gonna be Toy Box games.
Well, no, remember, Joe, we're playing the original game, not.
Oh, great!
This was before Toy Box.
Now we're doing Evil Dead 2 with the potential creepy animal heads.
Toy Box only became a thing, Jova, in 2013 when Swery and a lot of his team left Texas Games.
Wasn't that when they started porting the game, though?
Yes. Okay. Actually, I'm getting something a bit mixed up. Hold on. Let me go back. Here's what happened. Jova. In 2011, Tomio Kanazawa, the producer of this game, as in the original 2010 release, left Access Games along with some other staff, including even some staff from this game, to found Toy Box. And it was later in 2013. Since Access Games was busy working on Swery's follow-up game to this one, D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die for the Xbox One, Access Games, God, what's the word again? They gave Toy Box the role of making that director's cut, basically. And ever since then, Toy Box has been the one doing all those ports, and now the sequel. Eventually, Swery, of course, left Access Games because of that unfortunate problem that we've already talked about. And at this point, Access Games is basically just a typical remastered type developer, and all of the creative spirit that Swery infused with it when he founded the studio is pretty much gone. Access Games has basically become a complete shell of their former selves by this point. Don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is fine. But .mu was also involved in that, so I'm going to take a wild guess and say that probably .mu was probably the main reason why that.
And even then, at launch, it was reported to have at least some type of glitches and bugs.
It did, but it was patched already. So
no, it actually was. But again, it doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah. Because the Final Fantasy VIII Remaster that released recently, that was a collaboration between Access Games and .mu, the developers of Streets of Rage 4.
Oh shit. You know, George, at this point you can actually even remove the hood at this point as well.
Yeah, we know it's you.
Oh well.
Yeah, stop with the facade.
But don't you see? I'm waiting for the right moment to do so.
Hey, now you're running away from us. That's usually our job to run away from you.
Honestly, Joe, I think at this point he's just messing with us.
No. He's playing.
I thought we had something, George.
He's playing Scooby-Doo, and it's
all right.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though. If you when you play this is another great thing about this game. It's also great to play this game a second time, because when you play this game a second time, it's
clicking together.
Everything from the very first moment, George was always incredibly refusing of us being here. You know,
at some point you think, oh, it's the typical cop doesn't like FBI stuff. But let's also think about this. As sheriff, George would pretty much know this town like the back of his hand and would know where everyone is and whatnot. So, of course, he'd have the perfect resources to go on a killing spree and then, of course, investigate his own crimes, per se.
Well, he went as far as to lie about his own childhood trauma, so yeah, he is a
actually, Shiroi...
He may not have been lying about that.
Actually,
we know that still could have happened.
He lied about aspects of it.
So this is basically...
Well, I'm not quite sure he even lied about aspects of it. I think it's more like this, Shuri. He probably told us the truth to earn sympathy points and to show that, oh, he's opening up to yours.
What
so
Jova said.
How could he possibly be the killer?
So wait, a plot where the killer investigates their own crime. So basically, this is a better done plot of the Avengers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Death Note.
You talk about the 1998 one, right?
No, it turns out the 2012 one that secretly had that plot.
Wow.
But I'm gonna be sincere to you, Debs. I cannot. That movie is so forgettable to me. I can never remember anything that happens in that movie.
Yeah. So it turns out Loki was Tony Stark.
But yeah, no, Jova's right, Shiroi. That's exactly it, Shiroi. That backstory still happened, and those scars we saw on his back are indeed caused by his mom. And okay, you know those. It's probably a bit problematic for you, Shiroi, considering your eyesight. But you know those things in magazines or some kind of thing where there's this picture that looks all mangled, but if you look at a certain way, you can see some kind of drawing or something like that. You're familiar with those things?
Yes.
It's something along those lines. Basically, if you go back and check out that scene, there is a resemblance of the reversed peace symbol. However, as Harry himself said, and even York said, nothing can keep its shape for eternity. So there is some deformity in the scars over time, over the years. But yeah, and basically, Shiroi, it's exactly like Jova said. George.
Oh no, the squirrel keys.
Yes, the squirrel keys.
Tom. Taylor's heartbroken. But
thank you, Tom. You gave us some wonderful meals, but in the end, you were too crazy.
There's also regarding the scar thing. It's connected to something that I mentioned earlier. I think it would have been potentially an even more powerful moment if York actually went through and asked even more people to show their backs. But after Thomas, he just stops asking. I didn't really understood why he did that.
That was kind of one of my clues earlier that I thought, okay, probably the killer's got to be one of the main characters for that reason alone. The fact that we stopped showing.
That is also tied to the fact that, outside of the side quests, which are, minor scars put in between, only a few selected of the townsfolk gets a lot of screen time, which really, restricts the circle.
I guess, that's sort of the thing, though. In order for it to make sense who the killer would be, without making it feel like, a cop-out, or, you had to actually play the side quest to get the foreshadowing, it would have to be someone who participates in the main story for it to be the killer, for it to, not feel like it comes out of nowhere. That is one of the benefits Ace Attorney has by having a bit of a smaller cast here and there. You have mainly these battle characters, so any one of them could be the killer or whatnot. Whereas in here, when you take in genre awareness, it would kind of feel really awkward if it turned out, this character
is the killer or the mastermind or something.
Or hell, let's imagine that Sigourney is the killer, but say we didn't play her side quest, we'd have had
Jova. And Jova, just throwing it out there, what's a character that just now has got a lot of screen time and backstory?
Carole?
You're joshing the question. But
let it go.
Let it go, dude.
We'll see. Time will tell if I'm right or not.
One thing though, exactly what Jova said. Yes, but that's his thing. That's exactly the thing, Shiroi. When you think about it, that's exactly the overall plan. Let me just share with him my tragic backstory, which happens to be truth, and there you go. This is the perfect way to make him throw him completely off the trail. But he wasn't counting on Harry. But I wasn't counting on Harry to help him.
There's a bit more to talk about that, but I don't want to, prolong too much about this.
I'll just say this. One more thing to consider. You know how Dwibs constantly chastises George for supposedly accidentally causing Becky and Diane's deaths? What if that...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. There you go, Dwibs. Turns out, maybe he did it on purpose because he didn't want Becky to talk.
He himself mentioned it when the twist got out.
So there you go. So just one more thing, though. It boils down to that. And
wait
a
minute. That means wait a minute. What did you guys? When I said that the guy should be done for manslaughter.
It turns out he should have actually.
To be fair, Glibs, aside from Pedro, we really didn't know the context.
Pedro lied to me.
It was for a good cause, though.
The greater good.
Also, Dwibs, to be fair, it's not manslaughter he should have been tried for, but first-degree murder he should have been tried for.
All right.
He'll probably,
different.
Jovi, he'll probably try and plea bargain for second.
So, do we actually confront George in the next part?
Yes, we will. So, see you then.
All right. See ya.
See ya.